the Star Wars show, the scripts are going to be old. If you ever make it, the scripts are going to be years old. Are they timeless? Or
they're timeless because they take place between Episode 3 and Episode 4, that 20-year period when Luke is growing up. Okay. It's not about Luke, but it's about that period of when, the Empire is really trying to take things. And it's called Underworld. So it's the world. It's called
Underworld?
Well, that's a working title.
Okay.
But basically, it's underneath what's going on.
Okay.
And it's the criminals and the guys, the gangs that are, running, like Wall Street, basically running the United States.
Bernie Mac.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're not worried.
No,
being
not any
as
level.
cost effective as you guys are in your process, the scripts are done.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, they'll only get better, the scripts, and but no, it's really a budget thing. How do we get it down to a cost that is commensurate with the reality? Because even most people don't realize that the prequels only cost $100 million each. In the world of Hollywood, that is nothing. And that's why we were so able to do something for 2/3 less than what the average studio would do it for, and why we're successful. But this is really tough because we're trying to do in 1 hour the same amount of effects and technology that a 2-hour film has to do, and we have to do it every week.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
tough.
Yeah,
and
sure.
try and do it for $5 million.
Sure.
But we'll get there.
I hope so.
I hope I live long enough for us, because the normal person would just go to HBO and HBO would say, okay, we'll give you $8 million, we own the world rights, and you have to cast this person. That isn't the way, we want to work, and that's the last thing George wants to do.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way to figure out how to break even on it. It's never been about making a shitload of money. It's always about how do we break even. But also, you can't do that until you get a clearer idea of the direction, because it's totally unreal. The Nielsen ratings are it's a complete falsehood.
Yeah.
It's the Bernie Madoff of, how you think. It's all a pyramid scheme, because they can't let it go.
Right.
Because if you do, then all advertising will disappear.
Right.
So everybody's holding each other up. With these phony numbers. Whereas I truly believe in the next 3-4 years, you can put somebody on television, whether it's cable or whatever, and it can be disseminated where, 50 million people can see it one night.
Yeah.
But how do you monetize that? How do you get that back to the people who made the movie?
So it's on hold now.
Well, the reason that's on hold, we have 50 of the most unbelievable scripts. I mean, they're really, each 1-hour episode is bigger than any of the prequels were. I mean, they're just huge, and they're complex, they're dark, they're adult, but right now, technologically, there's no way we can do them for the kind of $5 million mark, which would be the maximum we could do.
$5 million an episode.
$5 million an episode. And that is because there's so much digital animation, because we have so many digital characters. So I think the idea is we'll just hold off, we'll wait, see if there's any major breakthroughs in the next year or two, and just see what's going to happen. And then once we can kind of come up with either a virtual set software that works really, that allows us to travel all over the world and do stuff, then I think we'll all come back and revisit it if we're still alive.
But what we were saying about you guys being able to kind of choose your own release date for Red Tails, are you able to also, with your TV projects, like maybe the live action show, choose your delivery platform?
No, because that's one of the other big issues. Not just the cost of the thing, but also the whole business is imploding. So the difference between where cable was 2 years ago and where it is now, where network television is, it's based on complete smoke and mirrors. No one knows how to actually accurately judge or gauge who's watching what. Yeah. And then if you make a network TV show, instead of an hour, it's 42 minutes. You have 20 minutes of advertising. If you aren't so big, if you're not at 15 to 20 million a week, there's no patience by the networks. So we go ahead and make the sacrifice to make the movie, finance it, everything else. And, we can find ourselves on a network TV deal after 3 weeks. We're gone. Right. It's happened to John Wells, it's happened to Bruckheimer, it's happened to, all the major, because they don't care. They need those numbers now. Whereas cable is much more forgiving. Cable will allow you to build your audience, plus you only need 2 or 3 million people.
Right.
But then again, thank you so much. Did I? Yeah. See you later. you cables, but then you have a much more limited. Most people don't realize that it took Mad Men over 2 years to get more than 1 million people to see an episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that at one level, if we're talking about our cost, that's just not commensurate with anything that we can do. And the HBO is a more difficult one because they like much more control. They want to have more ownership. That means they have a right to be able to tell you what you want to do.
Yeah.
So there's compromises each way. And I think for us, one of the other reasons that we really want to wait is this thing. Nobody knows what's going to happen with it. If Apple TV comes out this year, who knows what will happen in terms of how that will change the dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah.
iTunes has never been the panacea that everybody hoped it would be. But there is some other alternative form of viewing habits that can be figured out a way to charge. I mean, we're not trying to make millions of dollars. We're just trying to be able to recoup. Because for us, if we don't, it's over.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been part of the problem.
Okay.
Cost has been the major one. Then network versus cable, and then what outlet and how many people do you get to see it, and when the DVD market's gone, it's just it says the film business is a mess. We're going to the Ziegfeld. It's $13.50 to see a movie. By the second or third week of a month, if you're a kid and you're on an allowance, you have the choice of filling your car up with gas. Most important, getting laid or going to a movie. Forget it.
It's true. It's a shame, but it's true. So the Netflix model isn't viable for you guys either. Like you
not really. It's because again, it still doesn't have enough of enough profit participation for us immediately to be able to recoup.
Yeah.
But there is a form out there. It just is kind of all
still coalescing.
Yeah.